So you might have seen that a very popular look these days is the filmy, vintagey look. And while there are many, many different ways to accomplish this style, we're gonna go over one of those ways in this video. So let's get started. Will Simpson here and welcome back to the channel. Always good to see you. Today I'm going to show you how to quickly do a nice vintagey look, and if you save it at the end you will get a preset already pre-made. So you're welcome in advance, but stay to the end and I'll show you how to do that. So here's the photo and we're going to turn it from this to this. Now this is a relatively simple edit and it shouldn't take too long. So let's go ahead and reset it. Now you can easily apply so many different styles of editing to this. So here are a ton of presets, and while all of these look really good, we're going to be doing a vintagey style. Now all of these presets are available on my website, so if you want to check them out, I'll link it in the description, but let's get into the edit. The first thing we're going to do is adjust the calibration, and this sets the standard for the colors. If you're not familiar with how to use the calibration, I'll link it above me or in the description as well, and it kind of goes over what the calibration does in Lightroom Classic. So the first adjustment is the red primary. We're going to raise this, which is going to shade it towards the more orangey tones, and we're going to raise the saturation just to give it more pop in those tones because we are going to go vintagey. Now with the green, we're going to go more green, so we're going to raise this to about 40-ish, somewhere around there. And then for the blue, we're gonna go for the more teal orange look. So we're going to slide this over to about -10. Now that sets our color palette essentially. Now, a lot of people don't start in the calibration. This is just what I'm doing for this photo. And anyways, it's my technique. So now we're gonna go to the basic panel and adjust the basics. So first thing we're gonna do is, obviously it's going to be a vintagey photo, so you're gonna think warm and yellow and green, right? Kind of that kind of palette. So we're going to raise the temperature to quite a bit. We're just gonna raise it up to about 7,300, around there. Now obviously this is looking really bad, but just know we will bring it all back down a little bit later. Next, we're going to adjust the tint, and we're actually going to drop this to -5. Notice how, if I undo that, it was at +13 automatically. We're actually going to bring it down closer to the green tones, so let's go to +2. Now, starting from highlights, we're going to bring back our details. We're going to drop this almost all the way. We're going to bring up the shadows about 60%, so 61 or so, like that. On the whites, we're gonna just raise that up to about 25. Oh wow, this is looking beautiful. I think we're done. A little bit of jaundice in your subjects always makes a photo look good. All right, next we're gonna do clarity. We're gonna just soften it up a little. I always do clarity. I always lower it a little bit because it just kind of softens the edges of the entire photo. You don't want to do too much because then it just looks really weird. Gives it a weird glow, but a nice drop of clarity can always make a photo look really nice. Now we're gonna play with the vibrance and the saturation. So let's raise the vibrance a little bit. What that does is it brings back the less saturated colors and kind of balances them out. Now it does seem a little bright, so let's go ahead and just lower the exposure. Just a couple of clicks, that works for me. And then we're gonna go into the tone curve, and this is where we're going to balance it out just a wee bit. So we're gonna put a point on the shadows and a point just above the midtones. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna raise the blacks a little bit. We're going to lower the shadows, and we're going to leave the rest as is. This just gives us a nice tone curve, which you'll see will work better in a moment. Okay, now we're gonna get into the color mixer. And this is where a lot of those, well, this is where the balance occurs. This is where the photo actually starts looking good. Now, if you think this photo looks terrible right now, hit the like button and subscribe, because now we get into the fun stuff. Oh, that's funny. Because, you know, usually people ask you to like the video when everything is looking good. Yeah, no, we're not looking good right now. So hit the like button because we all agree with that. All right, so let's go into the not color grading, let's go into the color mixer. Now we're gonna start with the hue. Now some of these adjustments might not affect your specific image because the colors in your image might be different and you might have to make slightly different tweaks, but this will give you a good place to start. So the first thing, we're actually gonna start with the aquas. There's water in this, so it's not that big of a difference, but the aquas, we're actually gonna raise to blue, so we're gonna raise that to about 18. The blues we're gonna lower to about -6. The purples we're gonna raise to +15, and the magentas we're also gonna raise to +15. Now, let's go into the saturation. Okay, fine, +14. Let's go into saturation, and this is where we're gonna make a lot of adjustments. Red, drop it down a couple of points. Orange, drop it down quite a few points. Let's go to -19. Yellow, we're gonna go a lot. This is where our faded image is gonna come actually back to life a little bit. Greens, we're gonna go down to about -15. Blues, we're gonna go to -8, because remember, a vintagey image has less color in it. So blues, -18. And purple and magentas, we're gonna go to about -25 on both. We're just gonna type this one in. Beautiful. Now we're looking better. Look at this, before, after. Now we're balancing just a bit. So the next thing is the luminance, and with the luminance, we're going to raise the oranges a little bit. That brightens kind of their skin tones. The yellows, we're gonna go down to -10. Greens, we're gonna go up to about +8. And the blues, we're going to go to -20, which is going to deepen them quite a bit. Good, so here's the before and after of the color mixer. Before, after. Major changes happening right there. Here's the before and after of the photo, before and after. So now we're looking much, much nicer. All right, the next one we're gonna go into is the detail, and I'm gonna do my standard noise reduction, which is luminance at 60. We'll make sure there's a little bit of color at 25, and then the masking, we're gonna do that to 60 as well. You can also push and hold the alter option button, click the slider, and see exactly how you want your noise reduction to affect this image. Now the next thing that really makes the image pop is your masks. So we're gonna press Shift W on the keyboard, and we're gonna press Select Subject. Now with the subject, we're actually going to raise the exposure about 0.9, and we're gonna dehaze them. This will kind of make it a little bit more intense to about 5. And then we're going to click the 3 dots here, duplicate and invert. Let's rename this BG for background and rename the subject for subject. And for the background, we're actually gonna lower the exposure -20-ish, right about there. We're going to do a clarity of -15 to fade out the background a little bit more. And we're gonna warm it up to balance it off with their skin to about 15. Okay, good. And then finally, we're going to select people, and we're gonna soften the skin a little bit. So we're gonna do this and select facial and body skin, create mask, go to custom, click soften skin, light. We're gonna lower it to about 70%, so that'll soften our skin. Now our masks are done, and we have 2 more touches. The first is go into effects and add some grain. We're gonna do 20 points. Actually, let's do a lot. Let's do 30 points of grain. Then we're gonna go into the exposure, and we're just gonna lower the exposure until we get it to where we want. Now, I do feel like the orange is a little bit, oh, this is why, because we didn't adjust the saturation. All right, let's lower this down. There we go. That's what we were missing. It's like something's missing. What did we not do? Let's raise this up there. Good, and then we're gonna recrop it. Press R on the keyboard, crop it to our Instagram special. Perfect, crop it in nice. And then I think we are going to do a little extra tweaks to this. We're gonna darken it down. Good, we're gonna warm it up even more. And then we're gonna add that green tint to it. And then I think I'm going to do a radial filter here. This is all extra. And invert it, and we're just gonna darken it down. There we go, that's looking good. Let's make that feather a little bit. Yes, indeedy. Now we're also gonna come up here, and we're gonna raise the blacks. Oh, there it is, there's the image. Yeah, let's just raise them all the way up and then darken it down. Yeah, look at that. A little bit too much green. Add a little bit of magenta back, a little bit of saturation back, and there we have it. Ladies and gentlemen, our vintagey image, and you can even zoom in, and if you see the grain and you want more grain, come down to the effects and just pop in some more grain till you like it. I love grain. Grain is beautiful. It's a fantastic thing. Don't ever be afraid of grain. Now, if you want to save it as a preset, you're going to go up to Develop, new preset, and select everything that you want to save that you made adjustments on. Rename it Vintagey Preset, or whatever you want to name it. Select the group that you want to save it in, press create, and boom, there you have it. Of your very own vintagey, beautiful image, tasty, delicious film, words, things, preset for you. So with that, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you want to keep watching some videos, here's some videos to watch. Otherwise, I'll see you